suggestions by a guy I know.
He's got a few.
ADC.
Ooh, yeah, dig it.
ADC.
Let me take you something, ADC.
He watches wrestling.
Matt the Morgan's awesome,
Do you
Michael.
know your ADCs, the ADCs of wrestling?
Welcome to the ADCs of Wrestling. I am Mr. Some Days Off, the occasional Weird Al of Wrestling, your host, Andrew David Cox, and we are joined for the first time in what feels like a very long time by my very good friend, my man, Matt the Mark. How you doing, Matty?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's been a weird couple weeks. It sucks that I haven't been on, but either way, I'm happy to be here today.
We're happy to have you, man. Honestly, I feel really bad, too. I feel like I need to apologize because our schedule is just like, it's all over the place, and our lives are both super busy, super hectic, super complicated, so, you know, it's tough to get this show out there as much as I would like to, but I'm just going to keep doing it whenever it's convenient, and if people don't like that, then I kind of have two words for them.
What are the two words?
Unsubscribe, please. I guess are the two words. Podcast over. Those are the two words.
Podcast over. That's good. That's pretty common
Yeah.
on this show. So,
yeah.
hey, you know
Well,
what?
about a week ago, I would have told you if WWE goes to Saudi Arabia, the podcast is over. But here we are.
Yeah, fuck.
Yes, there's your wonderful analysis. Fuck.
I really don't have much more to say than that, to be honest. I know we'll talk about it, and I'll have way more to say.
I was
but
going to say,
right
let's
now,
end the show right here then.
Yeah, that's it. It's over.
Awesome. Really good stuff. No, so kind of a crazy week. I mean, we're just going to kind of wing this one. We're going to talk, obviously, a lot about Roman Reigns, as that hit me like really pretty personally close to the chest. We're going to talk about this whole Saudi Arabia situation with Crown Jewel, and then we're going to go through the card for WWE Evolution and give our predictions and whatnot, and we'll try to read a few tweets from you guys that probably go back to a couple weeks at this point, but that's fine.
That's all right.
First and foremost, I guess we basically just really need to talk about the thing that's on everybody's mind right now that's been the news of the week, probably the news of the year, maybe one of the craziest things that's happened in the last few years is Roman Reigns on Monday Night Raw coming out and announcing that he's been in remission with leukemia, and I guess he had it originally 11 years ago. The way they worded it was kind of confusing to say living with it for 11 years. I'm assuming, and there's not really more details about it, but I'm guessing he was in remission and it's sort of resurfaced.
That's kind of the assumption I had as well. I don't think it's something that's been active the whole time because I really don't think he would have been able to
No, I don't think that's possible. No.
Yeah, I mean, the schedule that they're on, there's just no way that he could have been dealing with this the whole time. So, I mean, either way, it sucks. This kind of came out of left field, like, I think a couple hours before Raw, or maybe even Sunday night, I saw a report that, about Cena and Bryan, which we'll touch on, but that also that Roman Reigns was hurt. And I don't know, that didn't seem to make sense to me. And then Monday hit, and I was like, holy, like, that was the last thing I was expecting.
I know. Just for it to say that he was injured and then have them come out with a release saying he wasn't injured. So this is obviously really, really sad news. I believe in my heart that Roman Reigns will beat this again. He's he's a healthy guy.
Yeah.
He can do this. He's going to obviously go through all the right treatment. WWE will be there to help him out with whatever he's got to do. He's got a lot of drive. But as somebody who's, been through something like this before and is, technically cured as to what they say here after 5 years for the particular cancer I had, it's just a super scary thing to think about, being 11 years removed from something like this and having it just kind of come back when I'm sure Roman's head was pretty clear as far as this. I'm sure it wasn't on his radar anymore. He was just thinking, look, that's behind me. I've got to move on. I got to live my life. And that's all you can really do. But man, it's super scary to think that something like that would just come back out of nowhere and really completely derail him. And the scariest thing about it is, despite all our best thoughts and well wishes, I mean, there's a chance that this was the guy's retirement speech. You never know. Like, leukemia is not an easy hill to climb, and he's got a real fight ahead of him. And it's a really sad situation for a guy who has dealt with a lot of shit and now is getting something else thrown his way.
Yeah. And, it's we don't really know what his treatment is going to be. I think we have at least a very good guess of what it could be. And, I mean, no matter what it is, it's awful, and you don't wish that on your worst enemy sort of thing. And I'll be honest, talking about your personal side of it, I mentioned this to you earlier, but like when I was sitting there watching it, you were the first person I thought of too. It's like, man, oh man, like the the way this is actually going to hit real people in the real world is it's something that I don't think we ever get on TV much, let alone within WWE. And the fact that he came out and basically said like, I'm the character Roman Reigns, but my real name's Joe. Like, that's when I was like, oh no, like what's going on here, you know?
I think a lot of the people in the arena, you could see them sort of start to cool their jets a bit with the booing, because that's sort of the WWE signal that this is real life.
Yeah.
When a guy comes out in street clothes, right?
Yeah.
It's the Daniel Bryan in the flannel shirt. It's the Edge coming out in his, his blazer or whatever he came out in, and just no gimmicks, nothing. He just looks like a guy. And Roman Reigns comes out as Joe, and his tank top, his chain, and he's just the guy, the man, Joe Noye, and he says as much that this is what he's dealing with. So obviously it's sad times. Really, really moving speech. I think it was
perfect. I don't think he needed to say much more than what he said, you know?
Yeah, pretty much nobody backstage knew about his actual cancer until he came out and cut that promo. So I'm sure that a lot of what we saw backstage was very real, very raw emotion from a lot of the people there. And I mean, if the announcers didn't know that, the reaction from Corey Graves and Renee Young and Michael Cole, I mean, good on them for even being able to compose themselves like that, because that was super hard to get through just as a viewer, and I can't imagine trying to come out with those words when you're speaking about a good friend like that.
Yeah, that was my exact thought too. And WWE released an exclusive video backstage afterwards of when Roman actually came back into Gorilla, and just everyone was kind of there to hug him and give their well wishes. You couldn't really hear what they were saying, which that's perfectly fine. Like, keep those private moments private. But they're so close backstage that we always seem to forget that. And then when something real like this hits, I mean, the real emotion on Corey when they came back to that camera, man, like that almost shattered me. Everything else I was feeling, but seeing the real emotion on his face, thinking, holy shit, this guy didn't know this was about to happen. And here it is. He's got to basically spend the next 3 hours calling fake fights, like it's nothing seems worth it after that, if that makes sense.
Well, I guess we should talk about what did happen after that later in the night.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on them turning Dean Ambrose heel after this emotional night and all this foreshadowing with the emotional embrace that Dean and Seth and Roman had on the stage, which I'm sure was very real. Seth's face was heartbreaking.
You could tell Dean was fighting back tears.
Quote unquote, oh yeah, of course. And to use this quote unquote night of all nights to turn Dean Ambrose heel, which was already coming and in the works, but supposedly, as per Dave Meltzer's reports, this was not supposed to happen until about Survivor Series. And they did it that night to capitalize on the announcement of Roman Reigns being sick and not being able to be there, and it being an emotionally charged evening. Is this the perfect capitalization of real emotion and one of the best heel turns that we will ever see in our lives? Or is this kind of a despicable tactic because there's people of both minds?
Yeah. And I think I'm in the minority with this one, as I actually think not that this was the best time to do it, but that it was an okay time to do it, because it's almost like no matter when it happened, you were always going to, I don't know, lay it back on this announcement, whether it was a week, 2, 3 weeks from now. How could Dean turn on Seth after everything that happened with Roman, blah, blah, blah. For me, and it's horrible to say, they just lost their top guy. And they need to develop characters now, because they essentially, if you think about how often Roman Reigns was on the show, they need to fill an hour of time now. So they got to spread this out. And it sucks, but the show honestly must go on. And I know that's a common mantra that gets said about WWE. But I bet you if you called Roman Reigns and said, hey, man, what do you think of Dean's turn? Do you think it was the right time? Roman's going to laugh in your face. And by Roman, I mean Joe. So, to me, I don't think it matters.
He's going to laugh and say, of course, you don't think they talked to me about this.
Yeah, of course.
I want my brothers to prosper right now, and the best thing that could possibly happen with me being off TV right now is you two guys at the top of the show doing what we had planned on doing, and doing it at a time when the audience is going to be fully invested to the point of shocked faces around the arena. Like, I was listening to the Masked Man show. Shout out to the Masked Man show. I love that podcast. And Dan St. Germain and Dave Shoemaker had this great discussion about how this is sort of the closest thing that our generation would ever experience to the time that Larry Zbyszko turned on Bruno Sammartino in the 70s, or I think it was the 70s. And it's just that raw emotion where people were really just cut up by it and upset by it and pissed off and annoyed. Like, how could you do that tonight? How could you do that to Roman? How could you do it to Seth? And it's just kind of tapped into this real raw emotion. And I guess that's cool. But it's sort of it is sort of soured by some of our other feelings towards the company for something else that's happening in a big way. I don't know if we should talk about that now or if you have anything else to say about this heel turn.
I got a little bit more, not too much more. I just think, like, if you look at the reaction of the crowd and if you talk to the guys actually within what happened, including Roman Reigns and Joe, they would all say, like, it was perfect. It was the reaction they wanted, the actual shock on people's faces when it happened, because you've seen it coming. Like, the writing's been on the wall, like you said. But there's always that, is it really going to be Dean that turns? Is it going to be, maybe it was going to be Roman, maybe it'll be Seth again, whatever. But for it to happen the way it did, it shocked everyone. It was must-see TV, no doubt. The one thing that I'm interested to see what happens is the entire time that he was beating up Seth, he was saying something along the line of say it again. What did you say? Say it again to me. So I'm wondering if there's gonna be a developing story out of maybe Seth said something to him. I don't know. But
I think that was supposed to be alluding to something Seth said last week on Raw.
He called him lunatic, right?
Yeah, he called him crazy. Basically said he was a lunatic. I mean, there was the whole tortured soul angle that Ambrose was playing. Like, full marks to Dean Ambrose for how he played that heel turn, because that might be some of the best in-ring physical acting I've ever seen.
It was amazing.
He's conflicted.
Yeah,
he's punching the mat. He's angry at himself. He's angry at the situation. He's hurt about what happened to his brother Roman, but he's still so angry at Seth that he just snapped, and he's got to deal with the repercussions of what happened, so he's going to go all the way. And then the full physical beatdown, the dirty deeds on the concrete floor. I mean, this really was, and to have it happen after this perfect storybook ending to the show, where we all kind of knew they're probably going to get the tag titles here. This is the only correct thing to do. And none of us saw this coming, not this week.
No.
So really, it was kind of a perfect heel turn. Dean was leaving through the crowd. People are shouting, "Why tonight?" I mean, it's one of the best, hottest angles we've seen in a long time. I am a little conflicted, but I think that might be a testament to how well it worked. That I am still pretty upset about it.
But you know what? The one thing I wanted to point out as well was Dean leaving through the crowd. What a perfect way to end the story of the Shield, by him leaving the way they enter. That to me was just brilliant. And even when he was at the top, yeah, exactly. And when he was at the top, he still had like the confliction on his face. I know the timing, and people are like, "Oh, how could you do it?" But it was just so well done. And it was probably amplified by that announcement that I'm not upset about it. And I know I might get some flack for that, but.
No, it's okay. I mean, I think a lot of people are saying it's kind of the only thing they really could have done. If you're going to go ahead with this storyline, I mean, it made more sense to just do it on Monday than it did to do it some other time, because why wait for it all to cool down before you move along with the storyline? If I keep wanting to say Samoa Joe just because he's
I know, I keep calling him Joe.
Roman Reigns. If Roman was happy with this and wanted this to happen, then there was no better time to do it, and I fully understand what they did. So, I mean, it's going to make for some entertaining television.
Yeah. And you needed more singles guys, right? Like they've
turned other people recently. They turned Elias.
I was just going to say, exactly. Like, they're clearly doing something character-wise by turning, KO, he's hurt, but they basically made him babyface. Lashley went heel. Elias went face. Now Dean's heel. Like, I don't mind this. If anything, it's going to give us something different on Raw, because it was getting really stale.
A lot of reshuffling. Braun Strowman is now, I guess,
face,
a babyface.
Yeah.
I guess we could move on to the topic of Crown Jewel. Before we get into all the ugly politics, I guess the title maybe the favorite. Everybody thinks it makes the most sense to just have Braun Strowman win this, but there's also that possibility that they put it back on Brock Lesnar and he disappears from television for a while so that we can focus our full attention on Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, which is the hot angle right now, and they should be at the top of the card, more so than a placeholder of a Universal Champion. So I don't know what they do now.
Also, if Brock does win that title, something that I honestly believe was something Vince wanted, is Brock having that belt at UFC. I don't know if he takes it in the octagon, but fuck, I hope he does. I hope he does.
I don't know, pal. I don't know.
It's silly,
by the
but
way,
I would
this
love it.
probably won't be the funniest episode ever because I'm not really in much of a mood as far as doing funny voices and laughing about stuff, because what we're about to talk to is super heavy and really, honestly, very disappointing. And I questioned whether or not I would even do a podcast or continue to watch the product after what we learned this week. But I guess we might as well just move on to this because it's the biggest story. It's one of the biggest stories in entertainment at all right now. Yep. Is that WWE plans on going ahead and they will fulfill their contractual obligations with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and they will be doing Crown Jewel on November 2nd in Riyadh, which is really crazy. It's
absolutely insane.
I don't even think we've done a podcast since this news came out about Jamal Khashoggi, but no. This whole story is something that everybody has their eyes on. I mean, it's hard to say that it's more important than everything else that's going on. Saudi Arabia has got a lot of stuff happening in Yemen right now where a lot of civilians are dying, but I think it's just such a visceral image, and it's so easy to picture yourself walking into an embassy and being murdered in a premeditated act and cut up and having your fiance wait for you.
Yeah.
And it's just everybody's identified with it, and I think that the Saudi government at this point is probably just thinking, oh shit, we did something that people can't ignore now. And for WWE to have this long-term contract with them and decide to go ahead with it is really, really hard to swallow. I don't think they should have been going there in the first place. I know you and I have gone back and forth on whether or not they were being a progressive new place. And I think that obviously any positivity you had to say about the Crown Prince has probably gone out the window at this point. It's gone. Have to.
Honestly, it's the way I've felt about this being, the possibility of the positives it could have are gone. It's not even a thought in my head.
Now.
It's
it
heartbreaking.
Just looks really bad.
It's as a fan of WWE and being a fan for friggin' 25 plus years, this is hard because this might be the first time where I'm I honestly I don't want to watch. I don't want to support it because
honestly, I feel kind of gross even doing a podcast right now and talking about it.
It's
just talking about it like a hobby of mine, a favorite thing of mine, a company that is now, basically in bed with the Saudi government. And John Cena and Daniel Bryan have refused to go. That's a big news story. We're still going to see what happens there.
And they're
still being advertised in their respective matches.
And I hope more people speak out about it. But then you see, Ronda Rousey comes out today and she's saying that not going would have been a bad move. And I'm just come on, stop drinking the damn Kool-Aid. They murdered someone in a premeditated fashion in a consulate on foreign soil. It's just the whole thing. And then you've got the U.S. government not really denying it, all the cover-up, all the lying. WWE,
the worst cover-up of all time.
It's ridiculous. And WWE has spit in everyone's face and essentially says, we don't care, we're taking the money. All over the world.
That's what the move says. That's honestly what it says.
All it is. We don't give a shit. We are taking the money because, you know what? It looked like their Q3 wasn't as great as it was expecting to be. So they don't care. They just don't care. And it's so frustrating.
I have to add to that there were reports at one point that it was out of their hands, that it was up to somebody in the State Department or possibly even Donald Trump himself, who obviously has a relationship with Vince McMahon. Linda's part of his cabinet. So maybe it was, passed down from on high that no, you're going to continue with this, we have this complicated relationship. I would like you to fulfill your contractual obligations the same way that we are going to continue to export arms to Saudi Arabia. So maybe it's not their fault, but it just sends the wrong the wrong message, I think, and that's why guys like John Cena and Daniel Bryan have taken a stand. The only wish that there were more guys on the roster that felt invincible and irreplaceable, because I think that there would be at least a handful more people who would just say, no, I'm not going either. But they probably feel like, they're not untouchable and they will lose their jobs if they just decide to stay home. But that's the only way to railroad the whole show, is if they all kind of link arms and say, look, we're not going. Try to put on a show in Riyadh without your talent.
Yeah. And
But everybody's getting paid. Like Shawn,
Exactly.
you know how much money Shawn Michaels came out of retirement to go to this show?
And
HBK at 53 is going to Riyadh for like $10 million. So how many people in the world have the willpower to turn that down? It's a scary thing, but it's true.
Well, and now it sounds like Hulk Hogan is going to be there as well. So
I've pretty much confirmed it, brother.
like, just throw wood on the fire, right? Like, who gives a shit? Might as well, let's just go for it. Let's go all in.
This whole situation is definitely a mess. And then you've got this World Cup featuring only stars from the United States. Basically anybody that was one of MBS's childhood favorites that is showing up to this thing. And anybody that had any other ethnicity was basically eliminated in the earlier rounds of the tournament. But it's not a World Cup. It's to determine the best in the world.
Which
So
is
that should
also
be great.
crap, because aren't your champions the best in the world?
That's a very good point. It's determining the best in the world without, like AJ Styles or Seth Rollins. Although Seth is in it, which is kind of weird.
True, but still, Samoa Joe's not in it.
He's
obviously
apparently injured, by the way.
Yeah, I heard that. Roman Reigns isn't in it, obviously. But
No, of course.
I don't.
No Braun Strowman.
No Braun Strowman. No Brock Lesnar. Which, and again, I get it. They're going for the title, but don't call it the best in the world. Don't call it a World Cup. Like,
Yeah.
you can't even hide it with Mysterio being Mexican or luchador. The dude's
they didn't
from
even try. They're just like, you know
he's
what?
from
He's from San
California.
Diego.
Yeah, like whatever. I don't know. I'm not. Take all the politics and all that other stuff out of it. It's gonna be just a garbage show.
Are you going to watch?
No, absolutely not.
I really don't think I am either. The only thing
Because
I
of
might
the
watch
politics,
is just
I'm not.
I'm boycotting the show for that reason. The only thing I could see myself watching out of any interest whatsoever would be Shawn Michaels' return, because I just want to see what they do with him and how it goes for him.
I don't know. Maybe down the road I'll check it out, but right now I feel too hot about it that I don't think, like, I think I would be physically sick to sit down and watch it knowing what it's going to be supported, because those fucking princes and all that royalty is still going to be on the floor by themselves just like last time. And
Yeah.
I'm over the
I
whole
didn't
thing.
like that either.
I honestly
I know.
was in the mood for progressive and moving forward in that, and I'm way past that. I'm over it.
All right, let's move along.
Yes.
Let's try to have some fun, I guess. We try to be irreverent and have a good time on this show, but it's been a heavy couple weeks and it's been hard to deal with. Let's talk about Evolution, Maddie.
It's a pay-per-view.
Damn it! I was gonna say it. You beat me to it.
It's only women. There's no dudes.
I wasn't gonna say that part. That's your job.
That's my first voice of the day. That's how down and shitty I've been.
Nope, you did Hogan.
You're right, but it was a terrible Hogan.
It was.
So I'm not going to count it. You know what? As much as I want to be positive about this, there's a lot of negative about the build-up for this pay-per-view, too, because a lot of people are saying they're just not doing enough to make it feel special. How do you feel about that?
What build-up?
Yeah.
Like,
there you go.
The only build-up we've really had is Nikki and Ronda going at each other on social media and on Raw, and that's, looking at the card, I guess Becky, Charlotte, that's awesome.
I think they've had a pretty good build-up between Becky and Charlotte.
They've been awesome. I'll give them that.
But can we talk about how they ended SmackDown Live with the hotly anticipated rematch of Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy, and Becky and Charlotte were only on the show in a pre-taped capacity with something that we had already, been shown on social media, which I thought was really weird. Like, why not have Becky Lynch or Charlotte come out to cut just a really good promo at the end of the show, maybe a little bit of a pull-apart brawl or something, rather than just that NXT segment? It just felt weird. And like, why does Hardy Orton end the show when there's this pay-per-view? That's not much of a go-home show. And then you had that stupid schmoz for the Battle Royal. The Ruby Riott won a match against Sasha and or whoever. It was Sasha,
It was just
right?
Sasha, yeah. But they're having a 3-way tag with Natty and Bailey. It's just, I feel...
Which we've seen every possible version of already. Every matchup in there, every pairing has already been basically thrown at us. It's the same way they booked all the stuff with the Dogs of War and Seth and Dean and Roman. It's just like, enough already. There's nothing special about that match now. There's no heat between the Riott Squad and Natty and Sasha and Bailey. And how can you have a WWE Evolution pay-per-view without a Sasha Bailey match that means more than that? I know that Sasha was hurt, so that's probably part of it, and maybe I'm being too picky for getting on them about this. But you have to think that like the so-called 4 horsewoman would have been focused on a little harder. And maybe even just if Bailey couldn't be tagged with Sasha in this situation, maybe she should have had a singles match and Sasha could have been there at ringside with her or something. It just would have been better. Like maybe a singles match between Bailey and Ruby Riott, the two who have the biggest upside in those respective groups, really.
Yeah.
Sasha being ignored because she's hurt, because she's probably got the highest upside of those. But like, there's just got to be better way to utilize some of these women, and then like Trish and Lita against Alexa Bliss and Mickie James, I guess, who's probably just there to take the pin so that somebody new doesn't lose to somebody from the old school. But it's just really underwhelming. I don't know. I'm not excited that much for it.
No, like I'm looking forward to Becky Charlotte, even partially Ronda Nikki, even though I think that's going to be pretty well a garbage match, but I said it.
I think that match will be good.
You're allowed your opinion. That's fine. I said it a few weeks ago before whatever the last friggin' pay-per-view was, that they weren't doing any build-up for Evolution, and you said, "Don't worry, after the pay-per-view they'll start building up to it." And I said,
they did. They just did it terribly.
So. But they didn't. They did for Ronda and Nikki and Becky and Charlotte, and that's pretty much it. Like, looking at the card, they mentioned not at all that the NXT Women's Championship will be on it, other than the original announcement. They didn't talk about the NXT UK Women's Championship being up for grabs. They didn't talk about the Mae Young Classic final being there. They've talked about the tag team match, which was supposed to be a one-on-one, but they changed because either Alexa's hurt or they didn't think Trish could handle it. Don't know.
Well, there's also some rumors that I think the official announcement from them was that they couldn't announce Ronda versus Nikki as the main event because they hadn't done the turn yet, so they had to stick with Trish and Alexa Bliss. But
that
when
makes
I
a
first
lot
heard
more
Trish
sense.
Stratus versus Alexa Bliss, I was like, that's a
Who cares?
terrible main event.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think much of the crowd is very excited to see Trish and Lita anymore either.
No, I think the initial like, woo, they're back. That's cool, but I don't know. Now I feel like they were on. I feel like they were on too much now, and maybe it's lost its muster. I don't know. And then you have this shitty battle royal for all the other talented women that could have been on this card to be just tossed in this throwaway battle royal. That maybe they'll get. I mean, they say they'll get a title shot after this, but who knows if they actually will. I don't know. I feel like this could have been something really, really special. And I think in some cases it will be looked at or looked back on as something very special because of it is the first women's only. But the amount of talent they have right now, I just feel like they did such a shit job building it up. They focus so much more on Crown Jewel and the men that I think this is going to flop. I'm afraid it's going to flop.
Yeah. Well, I will be watching this show.
I'm going to watch
this show. Are you going to try to watch on Sunday?
Yeah, 100% I'm going to watch it.
Me too. I'm just grab a couple beers, sit down, try to enjoy some pro wrestling, some WWE without thinking about all the peripheral distractions and the ugliness surrounding the current
It's going to be hard,
climate,
man.
But we'll see, man.
Because think of how much they're going to pump Crown Jewel on that pay-per-view. On Evolution. All they're going to be talking about is the men's only pay-per-view on the women's only pay-per-view. It's I'm not looking forward to that part of it.
Yeah. Nah, me neither. I'm also not looking forward to any more tweets from people being upset that Michael Cole is on the call.
Oh, people get over yourselves. Like, come on.
Yeah, the guy who calls matches is going to call the matches because there's so many other women at WWE who are seasoned at match calling.
There are none.
How many announcers? There's Renee Young, who is a
color.
rookie at best as far as color commentary goes, and has never called a match.
No. I'm totally fine with this because if it wasn't, it couldn't be Morrow right now because he's off sick. So
Mamma mia!
yeah, so I think it would have been him.
I don't know why I said that.
Because he has the history of calling the Mae Young Classic and NXT and all that. That would have been great, but he's off. So
the Mae Young Classic this year has been Michael Cole, and he's been doing a great job.
Has it really? You're right.
Yeah, and
that's right.
Handcuffs off. He's actually been doing a good job. Last night I was watching the semifinals, and the match between Riott Ripley and Io Shirai was awesome.
So good.
Rhea's pretty badass, dude.
I think it was a week, or it was after her match when oh my god, now her name's when she got hurt. What was the girl that got hurt?
Braxton something.
Oh god. Anyways, it doesn't matter. And she started tweeting out, like, she made her Twitter picture, the girl on the ground, like, clutching her leg. Yes, Knox.
Tegan Knox.
So she made her Twitter profile picture, Tegan Knox on the mat holding her leg in pain. Like, she's so good, and she's so physical, and she's 22 years old.
Yes,
like,
she is.
This is the future, and really, she is the UK champion right now. It's never actually been aired, but it was filmed, filmed. It was taped. So Rhea
Ripley is the champ.
She is the UK Women's Champ, and I don't know who she's defending against on Sunday. I honestly don't know, but
well, let me pull up the card, Matty. We could start giving our thing. Oh, it's Toni Storm. No, it's not. Sorry,
no, it's not.
That's it. Where the hell's that match? Oh, versus TBD.
Yeah,
still says TBD.
That's what I'm looking at too. But either way, so I think Rhea is going to be kind of face of the company come soon.
Well, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a few of them, but I think Tegan. Damn it, I think Toni Storm.
She's quite
kind
great.
of the future face of women's wrestling as well. Especially, I know they're trying to really jumpstart this NXT UK, but I think that she could be a big star on the main roster as well. It'll be interesting to see how they try to juggle all of these different products because now they're going to have women in NXT, they're going to have women in the UK, and they're going to have women here. So I don't know. They'll probably pick and choose some to bring over, but then you got to keep the other territories strong. So I don't know what to do. And obviously, Toni Storm is very English, so it makes sense for her to be in the UK territory and to be kind of a main stand there. But no, her match too was fantastic.
So good. I just the Mae Young Classic. I've caught bits and pieces of it. I haven't sat down and watched an hour.
I've only honestly watched this past round. So.
Yeah, so the matches have been phenomenal, as expected, right? They've got a lot of time to work on these matches, but there's a ton of talent within these women. So I actually really like the expansion of NXT UK because it allows these people to go out and have somewhere else to wrestle. And otherwise, they're just at the Performance Center, not doing anything. They're not getting a fan base.
Go away for a while and learn a new hold, pal.
Yeah,
it's the best thing you can do.
No, I really like it. I mean, as part of Evolution, though, I think the Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler match I'm the most excited for. The finals of the Mae Young Classic with Toni Storm.
Well, let's go through the card.
Okay,
Instead of just reading
let's
things
do it.
off randomly and saying that'll be cool, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Why don't we actually, format a bit of this show and go through it and give our predictions? Okay, let's do that.
Sure.
That sounds like a good idea, 87.
Oh.
Try to keep quiet.
There he is.
Hey, it's Steve.
I just thought maybe it was a bit of an emotional show, so I tried to keep my ass quiet.
Yeah, you said that. I heard you. So, how have you been doing, Steve?
I've been all right. I've been a little sad.
Yeah, us too.
Yeah. Had a lot go on the last little while. By the way, just a quick shout out to everyone who, I know this is such a weird time to do it, but anyone who messaged me on Twitter last week with my pup having to be put down, I really appreciate the love for that. It definitely helps. So just want to give a quick shout out to that. Thanks.
Swig a beer for Maddie's doggo. I'm not going to make fun of your ass for at least 3 weeks.
I appreciate that, Steve-O.
Nice. That's pretty nice.
And I got a special surprise for you guys.
Wait, what's that?
Uh-oh.
I finished my song.
No.
Whoa.
Come on.
You can't be serious.
I'm serious as shit. I finished my song, goddammit. I don't know whether to shit or why my watch, but I think we should air it at the end of the show.
Yes,
and
please.
That's the bottom line.
All right.
Right
Why
on.
don't we do that?
Yeah, Steve-O, good man. I made the conscious decision
I
After
was talking.
I was about to
you
apologize for no selling him a few weeks ago, but I might pull it off the table.
Okay, well, what else did you have to say, Steve?
Swig a beer.
All right.
All right, he's done.
Continue, Maddie. He's done.
I don't remember. I think I was just going to say, I put some thought into my no selling Steve a couple weeks ago, and maybe that's not the best approach for us to repair our relationship, and I'll take the higher ground. And so I think, it might take some time, but I think Steve and I will get back onto common ground, if you will.
I'll lay your ass on the ground with a stone cold stunner. I'm going to light your ass up and drop you on that stack of dimes you call a neck. And that's the bottom line. Because Basement Steve said so, or some shit, etc., etc.
Yeah, it's going to take some work, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
So I guess that's so much for the truce.
Well, you know what? I won't give up. How about that?
That's how I interact with my friends.
Oh, okay. So he beats his friends up.
Did he just call me
Did
his
you
friend?
use the F word?
Yeah, sure as shit did. Go fuck yourself.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Off
right.
the rails.
Yeah. Let's curb that for a while.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Evolution.
Yeah.
First off, I guess we can talk about what's probably the least meaningful match on the card, unless there's some kind of big. The only way they could really salvage this match: Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Natalya versus the Riott Squad, which is of course
Heel
Liv
turn.
Morgan, Sarah Logan, and Ruby Riott, is a heel turn. Would be some kind of controversy, a real, actual advancement in the Bayley and Sasha Banks storyline. As as we had a heel turn on the Night of Nights on Raw for the men. This would be a night of nights for the women, too. For two of the four horsewomen to really become at odds with one another and actually finally kickstart this feud. That being said, Riott Squad, Hundo P going to lose. There's really... Ruby Riott got a win on Raw. That's more than we would expect at this point. She's still very good, but I think that she's got obviously a lot more of a future ahead of her when she's not paired with Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, unfortunately.
I'm okay with the little stable. I like them staying together. I think
they're fine.
I think
They're just
Ruby.
fine.
I think Ruby will get a good push because I think everyone kind of recognizes how good she is on the mic, in the ring, all that fun stuff.
She just needs a chance.
Yeah, I think that's what it
give
is.
Ruby a chance.
Give Ruby a chance. Oh boy. Yeah, I think you're totally right. The only way for this match to mean anything at all is for something fun to happen. And I don't mean a Ruby win. I mean an actual heel turn, like you said.
Right.
I mean, I think the most obvious heel turn will be Natalya. Just because. Why not? I don't know.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. All this talk about the women's tag division, nothing's really materialized
Well,
there.
it's gone, right? Like, it's not even on the card. So
now I don't know what they do with Natalya or what they do with Sasha and Bayley, what they do with, what they do with Naomi and
the Iconics. But now that being said, I think it was this week on Raw and SmackDown, they were handing out signs at the door that said, "We want a women's tag team championship."
They were handing out those signs?
They were handing them out. They were pre-printed on like 8x11 sheets in block letters that they were handing out. That's what I saw on Twitter from more than one person. So, you know what? Maybe there still will be some fancy announcement and some women will be pulled out of the Battle Royal and there'll be a tag. Who knows? But either way.
Damn it, if they don't want a women's tag division, we'll tell them they want a women's tag division. Here's what you want, pal.
Even though it's been talked about for
There's
months.
a goddamn sign.
A literal sign. Anyways, I don't know who. I mean, I guess Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Natalya win. Assuming nothing
That's
happens. Yeah.
I just think that they win. I don't know. I don't think you start off Evolution with a Riott Squad win. I think that you get Sasha and Bayley holding hands and celebrating together.
And then heel turn.
If there would be, maybe. I don't even know if they would. But that would be a hell of a way to kick off the night.
It'd be great.
Women's Battle Royal.
Dana Brooke.
I don't even know who's in this match. I was just going to say, is this your chance to make your pick for Dana Brooke? So Dana Brooke is looking like she's doing a little better lately in the ring and performance-wise. She's also dating, I think she's dating Ennis Cantor on social media.
Yeah, I don't know.
Basketball player?
I don't know. She could be. I don't care about that. There's no Titus Worldwide anymore, right? So
seems like it's not a thing.
Yeah, it's gone. Titus is off doing PR stuff. Apollo's fighting Elias and Dana has been in some tag team matches, and that's fine. But
So
she's getting
this might be kind of fun if we read through the sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
but
no,
there's
no.
a list of women here on Wikipedia's.
I don't even know how many women are in it. I know like Kelly
I don't know
and
the
Michelle
number
McCool
either,
and-
but yeah. So we have the entrants here: Tamina, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, Ember Moon, Alicia Fox, Nia Jax, Dana Brooke, Asuka, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Carmella, Lana, Naomi, Maria Kanellis, Zelina Vega, and then here's a fun list: some returning legends that are also rumored to be in it, or actually confirmed to be in it.
They're confirmed,
Tori
yeah.
Wilson, Tori Wilson, Michelle McCool, Alundra Blaze, Ivory, Kelly, and Molly Holly.
You know what's funny about this is I feel like this would need more if all these women weren't just in the Royal Rumble less than a year ago.
I know.
You know?
It really, it takes away from it.
Like it's cool.
It even takes
but
away from the Trish Stratus and Lita return.
100% it does. 100%. So, I mean, it's still cool that they're going to be there. I mean, Alundra Blaze being there was a bit of a shocker to me. Not that I don't think she shouldn't have been there, just that she's physically able, I guess. I don't know.
She's just quite a bit older than a lot of them.
That's all
she's
it
from
is.
She's from a generation before the generation of divas coming back.
Exactly. So, I mean, I don't know. This could be fun. I don't really know what's going to come out of it. The winner gets a chance at a title shot, I guess.
Yeah, is that a thing?
That's what it says, yes, but you know,
Oh yeah,
they got to
for a
follow
women's
through on it,
championship
right?
match.
So,
okay,
I mean, I don't know how
here's who I give
Asuka
it to.
doesn't win this, but
it could be Asuka, but there's also a lot of rumors out there about her lack of English really holding her back. And
I
if you've
have
seen
read
some
that.
of the cringe-worthy, awful promos they've been doing with her and Naomi lately, then you could see that maybe not going anywhere anytime soon.
It
I would
hasn't
say
been
that there's a chance at a Mandy Rose win because I think she's got a good upside.
That'd be awesome.
Or an Ember Moon win, and my actual pick would be Ember Moon. I think Ember Moon takes this battle royal.
that's
She's pretty dope, man.
That's pretty
She's
solid,
dope.
and she's been getting a lot of wins. She's got one of the best finishers in wrestling.
You got to stop landing on that ass kid that's going to end your career.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Stop trying to upstage me. You know, ain't nobody got to do no stone cold stunners off the top goddamn rope. And that's the bottom line. And the top rope. See what I did there?
Yeah.
Swig a beer for terrible jokes.
All right. Well, at least he knows they're terrible.
Let me do a little fantasy book here. What if we get through this and everyone's tossed over the rope and the final four left are Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville, and we hear Steph's music kick in? You know
Okay.
what? Screw it. Let's make this for the Women's Tag Team Championship.
Okay, that's very interesting.
It's out of left field. I don't think it'll happen, but that would be pretty damn cool. It would make the show very, very special.
It would. I could see that happening. I mean, there's room for surprises, right? This underwhelming card itself, if they really want us to remember it, they've got to swerve us in some way or another.
I agree.
That does happen to be 4 tag team or 4 women from SmackDown, so I don't know
That's
if you
true.
could end with that. But maybe you get like Ember Moon and, I don't know, Nia Jax in the ring against Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, or against Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville or something like that. There's also, I mean, Nia Jax is a solid pick too, man. Real solid pick because she needs something.
Yeah, I think it's just because didn't they do it in the Royal Rumble where everyone pretty well ganged up on her to get her out?
That's the move.
I could see that
That's
happening
the Big Show
again.
move. That's
Yeah.
the Braun Strowman move.
But I don't know. I mean, I think even just sitting here talking about it, I'm a little more interested in what happens in this match than I originally thought.
Sure. At least it's for a championship match, right? It's basically
true.
the Royal
There's
Rumble
something.
at this point.
Yeah.
Except it's a battle royal and they're all going to start at the same time in the ring and it's probably just going to be a huge cluster until about like the last 10 minutes. So.
Yeah, which does kind of suck that they don't get their intros for, this massive pay-per-view, but at least they're there, I suppose.
There might be something for some of the returning legends. I'm hoping it's not just the parade that we get for like the Andre Battle Royal where they all walk down together. That's kind of embarrassing.
I'm sure that's exactly what it'll be.
Goddamn kid. All right. Trish Stratus and Lita taking on Alexa Bliss and Mickie James.
You already hit the
Unfortunately,
head.
I really don't see any way in which Trish and Lita don't get this win to celebrate what they did for the women's evolution and how
Totally.
they inspired these women and to just stand tall at the end of the night and effectively pin Mickie James because she doesn't need protection whatsoever. Alexa
Yeah.
Bliss does.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Mickey James would take the pin. Of course, if I want something fun and swervy to happen, Mickey James kind of heads on over to the old guard and turns on Alexa. That would be fun. That would be something different as well. But I think you're right. I think Trish and Lita get the pin on Mickey so that Alexa doesn't have to eat it, and that'll be that.
All right, now we get into some of the fun. We've got Riott Ripley versus To Be Determined for the NXT Women's Championships. I'm going to go with TBD because that could be anybody.
It's funny because I think the name is actually out there, but I can't for the life of me remember, and I don't want to search for it. But I mean, Ray Ripley will win, and I don't even think her title win has been aired on NXT UK, so I don't actually know how she comes to the ring with the belt because she just lost a couple days ago on the Mae Young Classic. So
interesting.
That could be interesting. Maybe that gets changed. I don't know.
It looks like I'm just looking it up here.
You're doing some research on the spot. Look at you.
Tonight's NXT UK tapings in Plymouth, England. Women's pay-per-view. It was confirmed to be defended at the women's event with Riott Ripley winning the title. Defend the championship against Isla Dawn.
Oh, okay. That's the name. Yep. Yeah. So I don't know who Isla Dawn is. So I'm going to take Riott Ripley just because I know who
she's
she is.
A redheaded lass currently signed with WWE and competing on NXT UK.
Cool.
Also appeared in the Mae Young Classic this year, which we haven't really watched.
Yeah.
And she was at the UK Championship Tournament special on WWE Network. So
All right.
I'm going to go with Riott Ripley.
Yeah, me too. I
think they're also building Rhea up really well.
Yes.
She's been tweeting mean stuff. She was laughing at what happened to Charlotte at the Performance Center, even though she was one of the women there. And then Becky basically said, laugh all you want, bitch. Come up to me and I'll slap your face off too. You're next.
Becky is so good right now. We'll talk about her in a second. Oh.
Yeah, Becky straight fire.
Yeah. Hey.
You got to stop doing that top rope missile dropkick, Becky. You're going to end your career.
Are you like a career cop or something?
Super concerned.
Well, you consider my run had ended a little fast, didn't it?
Well, I guess he's right.
Yeah.
Swig a beer for looking out for other people's bodies, Steve.
Oh, hell yeah.
Don't
Why
give
you
him.
look out for your own body? You keep talking back to me. I'll drop you on that stagger dodge you call a neck.
Yes, we've heard that before.
You don't need to keep giving him excuses to swig a beer.
You're right. He's probably swigged a few too many beers. You know,
He's
it's only like
doing
4
all
in the
right.
afternoon, right?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
He's not
guess.
wrong. He is not wrong.
Anyway, we're both taking Riott Ripley.
Yeah.
How about this? Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler, a rematch of one of the very surprisingly good matches at NXT TakeOver.
Yeah, I didn't see Kairi winning back then. I don't know if I see her winning now. I mean, I guess she could retain because it looks like Shayna's MMA friends there are a lot more active on live events and so on. So I could see them building a bit of a stable there, and she doesn't necessarily need the belt, but although she would look unbelievable with the belt and those two women behind her. So this is a tough one for me.
I think it's tough to have somebody like Shayna retain the air of, toughness and unbeatable, pedigree that she has, an MMA fighter around her. If she loses again cleanly, they would really have to protect her in a loss to keep that credibility that she has. But I do think that it's interesting that with Survivor Series coming up, that there are 3 other horsewomen in training right now, maybe being kind of sped along, that would be ready in time possibly for a match where they could join Ronda against the other horsewoman. Maybe we even get some kind of a face-off at the end. Although, how are Charlotte and Becky going to be on the same team?
That's tough right now.
So, you know what? Let's curb that too. We'll pocket that, and we'll think about that maybe for WrestleMania. And I'm going to say that Shayna Baszler wins. Talk myself out of it.
I have to agree with you on you want to keep Shayna looking strong. So how do you make her lose clean twice?
Yeah.
But I mean, the first one was kind of a surprise, and I feel like Kairi could do it again. I'm going to take Kairi.
All right. Nice. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. Guaranteed match of the night, right? Hard to guarantee, but
no, you know what? I don't know. I think the Mae Young Classic final is going to be match of the night, to be honest, with Toni Storm.
Okay.
But actually, you want to talk about that one first? Tony
Did
Storm.
we skip it?
Yeah.
We did. Io
Yeah.
Shirai versus Tony Storm.
Yeah.
I'm a dumbass.
That's all right. I figured you'd get there eventually, or I'd just lead you back.
Yeah. Both of these women, pretty fantastic. Tony Storm, also only like 22 years old.
Yeah.
Super popular on the indie scene, super popular in the UK. Great little moveset. I like her whole look thing going. She's got like, the eye black, like the kind of sports eye black on her eyes.
Lisa Left Eye.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't go chasing
and then
waterfalls.
Io Shirai has basically the reputation of being the best women's wrestler in the world that we hadn't seen yet. A few years older than Tony. So, I think the move here would be to go with Io Shirai and have Tony look super strong in this match, and then a great show of respect at the end. I don't think you get anything other than just like a really great match between two phenomenal athletes. And my pick would be Io Shirai.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm actually going to make the same pick as you there because I think Tony Storm has a bigger career ahead of her, at least within WWE. That being said, Kairi Sane won it last year. And then ended up joining WWE, and now look at her. So it's hard to say where Io Shirai ends up, but I'm going to take Io Shirai as well. I think she wins.
All right, we're boring. Now let's talk about Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair.
All right.
Last woman standing match for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship.
First one ever, except it's
First
not.
one ever
Except it's
on the main
not.
roster.
Except it's not.
On the main roster.
Yeah, you know what? And at first I was like, okay, they could have definitely defended themselves by doing that, but then they did that NXT Performance Center promo, and they actually had one of the NXT women say, hey, how does it feel to be in this first ever last women standing match? And right then and there,
roster.
She didn't say on the main roster.
I know, but
that's where I was just like,
implied.
damn it, come on.
I guess we just have to know that they know that. I don't know. Anyway.
No.
I think this is going to be really, really good match. This match honestly has the potential to underwhelm based on how fantastic the build-up has been because everybody's expecting it to be just an actual, drag 'em out brawl. And it likely will be with it being a last woman standing match.
I think we'll see some good stuff, though. I mean, both of these women can wrestle their asses off, so
definitely.
I'd
say Becky a little more than Charlotte.
Yeah, I suppose. I think Becky's got more technical, but Charlotte goes way bigger, so they'll definitely complement themselves or each other, I guess.
So who's your pick?
I think Becky retains. She's too good right now.
Damn it, that's what I was going to say too.
Yeah,
there's a lot of talk out there of them possibly, pushing Becky Lynch over Charlotte Flair moving forward.
Yeah.
And I think that Becky should retain and hold this title for a while. And you know what? There's all this talk about WrestleMania and a Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte matchup. What if we get Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania?
I have the same
You get the
thought.
disarm her versus the arm bar, the one who could break the other one's arm first. They're like, I don't know, they're more comparable in size, I guess. Maybe Charlotte's, that one's kind of a wash because Charlotte's huge too, and so is Ronda. But
yeah.
They're just, I don't know, they'd be perfect. I would think that the war of words between a Becky Lynch and a Ronda Rousey might be really compelling stuff, and just the way that they could keep trying to get each other into like almost a work shoot fight, an MMA fight where they just keep trying to lock in those arm bars would be really entertaining stuff, and old school good wrestling heat. If they just slow down and sell, it could be fantastic.
And just Becky's character right now is just so spot on because she's kayfabing everywhere. She's still on social media, but she's playing her character there as well, which not many of them do nowadays. Kevin Owens was great at that. But Becky is just laying it in, and just the way she's attacking people too. Like, I don't know, it just kind of reminds me of old school Attitude Era. I don't know if I want to say like Stone Cold, but I would love for her
that's the
character to be like
comparison,
that.
man. Everybody's calling her Stone Cold right now. It's basically the way they're playing it, and she kind of needs to be a babyface sooner than later. But when you also talk about a future possible match with Ronda Rousey, who has got more of a reason to hate Ronda Rousey for just coming in and stealing all her thunder from the outside and going right to the outside than the one who's built her entire character, entire push right now on that foundation of being looked over and looked past?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you guys are going to have like a big match at WrestleMania. Well, guess what? Charlotte got a match with Asuka. I wasn't really there. And now Becky or Ronda is with the McMahons in this huge match. Well, that's fantastic. Where's Becky Lynch? Well, guess what? You may have won some matches back in the day, but you lost a bunch of matches. Now you're here, and I'm here to put you on your ass again and break your arm. So I just think that would be fantastic, and that's what I want to see moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you here at all. I mean, Becky is just, she's great.
That's because
right
I'm straight
now.
fire.
Yeah, okay.
Ronda Rousey defending.
No, retaining. That's fine.
The
said
WWE Raw Women's Championship. Well, we might disagree here against Nikki Bella.
Oh,
And if you don't think this is going to be the main event of the evening,
it's the main event.
You need to just unsubscribe to the WWE Network right now because this is the main event. This is the mainstream.
This is the main event. Plain
This
and
is
simple.
the mainstream marquee match on the card. It's Ronda frigging Rousey, whom everybody knows, versus Nikki Bella, who was John Cena's girlfriend,
Yeah.
was on Dancing with the Stars, has total Bellas, has dress, makeup products, all these things.
Their
She's
feud,
the most mainstream woman they have.
Yeah, their feud
It's
is
the biggest match they have.
It's being tracked on like TMZ and HuffPost and
Yeah.
all these like news outlets that would never, ever, ever talk about wrestling. So it is the main event. If you have an issue with that, you just got to get over it right now.
Goddamn, kid, we know it's the main event. Stop talking about it.
Okay, Jesus.
All right.
We're doing a podcast, Steve.
Well, not very well.
Well, I mean, he's not wrong.
No, not this day. He's not wrong.
So
Who's your pick, Matt?
I mean, I think Ronda. I think Ronda retains. I think she's going to take the belt for a ride for a while
This
to
is gonna be
WrestleMania.
Yeah. This is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I think Nikki Bella.
Wow.
I think Nikki Bella ends the show
Wow.
with the Raw Women's Championship.
I mean, as a fan, just in general of wrestling, I'd be okay with that because at least it's something that I'm not expecting.
I think it's just like their way of saying fuck you to all the fans who
Yeah.
really don't want Nikki to be there. And what way to garner heat in some way than just to have, Nikki, whom everybody is just rejecting right now, actually beat Ronda Rousey through nefarious means. It's got to be a bad win. But
Absolutely.
you've
And Bree's
you've
got to be
more.
involved.
Sure. And then there's more that they can do out of it where Ronda's been cheated out of her title and she's finally going to get her hands on Nikki again and really actually kick her ass and take it back fairly and then move on to WrestleMania. But there's got to be something, right? Maybe there's a tag match there at Survivor Series with Team Ronda versus Team Bella and
Yep.
and they can move beyond that. And we get a lot more of this stuff, but I just feel like the war of words isn't necessarily over, and I think that they're going to be interested in having that kind of a surprising finish to that match and having Nikki Bella win. And Nikki Bella was like the longest reigning Divas champion of all time.
Yeah.
And she has made comments in the media about not necessarily wanting to be only associated with that title. About having wished that they could change the name of the show Total Divas, but you can't just change an intellectual property title like that because people know what it was called and the networks don't want to do things like that. So there's a great chance that backstage she's made a push to say, hey, let me carry the Raw Women's Championship for a while and indel my name to that, division as well so that I'm not only thought of as a diva from the Divas era. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why this may actually happen, and that's my pick. I'm picking Nikki Bella.
You make some interesting arguments, and I'm sticking with Ronda, but I don't know if I would be upset if your pick was right.
No? You wouldn't be hot?
Just for story and fun and swerve and something different and the not expected happening. Like I mean, it just so often in WWE now the expected actually happens. So I'm sticking with Ronda because I still think she's gonna win. But if she didn't, I wouldn't be angry.
All right. You want to move on to some just two tweets?
Let's do it.
The following segment was paid for by the ADCs of wrestling.
Hey, yo. This is just two tweets.
Two tweets.
All right, tweet me, bro. Let's do this. This week's going to be a bit of a crazy kind of mishmash. I'm just going to look back at some of the tweets and see if anything stands out and just give her a read instead of actually, putting together a list and doing prep work because I just didn't feel like it this week. How about that? Ball game.
I like it.
We should go to Saudi Arabia. Shut up, JBL.
Shut up.
Idiot. Hey, I'm on Fox and Friends. This is awesome. Maggle.
Oh, good.
How about this one from Dave Lightfoot at King of Mad Props? He says, wow, I didn't know Andrew David Cox had such a huge basement for Taker to do his promos in. Hashtag so many tweets. Hashtag what a large basement. That's true. I should address this.
It's a 2-tiered basement.
Yeah, Taker and Kane have been here all week just shooting promos. We haven't even really talked about the Legends tour that's going on in Saudi Arabia with degenerating fast going on against the Brothers of Destruction. But it's happening. And they've been shooting promos here all week in my basement, so that's pretty good. I'm looking for some input from Matt, but he's just staring at his phone, completely ignoring me and not podcasting.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Anyways, you've got a big basement. Look how big your basement is. It's awesome.
Don't disparage the basement, you bish.
Showing off your huge open basement.
Yeah. I really don't have that big of a basement, but for
it's
kayfabe purposes, they've been shooting promos here and not at whatever arena they were at to do it. Paul Skeevers, I forget what he said his name was, but it's spelled Skivers. I'm going to say Skeevers. Says, can you sense a Triple H versus Batista match at WrestleMania this year? Yes, I can, and I think it would be good.
That was actually
be entertaining.
I mean, we didn't even touch on SmackDown 1000 at all, but that was by far the best part of that entire episode.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that at all. We didn't talk about Ronda's promo.
We don't need to. People saw it. It's old news.
The only door we've been knocking down is the one that people shut in our face because our podcast was too late and they don't want to hear us anymore.
Podcast is over.
Yeah. If Nikki Bella wins, podcast is over. Mary Carr again says, there's 2 logical people that attacked Black, Gargano or Ono. Anyone else is unacceptable. Well, you were right on the money. Yep. It was Johnny Gargano. We got to heel Johnny. Matty.
Oh, man. I like that. That's totally fine. It's Ciampa's reaction. That's the best part of this whole thing is Tommaso on Twitter thanking Johnny, congratulating him, say, welcome to the deck. All this fun. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Okay, how about this? The Doot player at Flameboy at Flameboy1
nice.
Says, since Laundry Taker released a rap album, why doesn't he upload a diss track on Mark Zuckerberg? He probably should get his own,
He should. He should
release a track about Zuckerberg. Since Facebook got fined like 10 minutes of income for the entire Cambridge Analytica scandal, he probably needs some hot fire spat at him from one Undertaker, you bish.
10 minutes of income. That's good. I like that. Because they make lots of money.
Zuckerberg will rest in pieces.
Romine says, my interest in WWE Crown Jewel is equivalent to why I watch NASCAR highlights on SportsCenter. Hashtag big wreck. Hashtag just 2 tweets. And that was before, I think, most of the scandal. He tweeted that last week.
Yeah.
Here's a great one. Clangy Poles at Clangy Poles tweeted us. Clang, 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 Trish, clang, clang, Alicia Fox, clang, 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 Lita, clang, Mickey James, clang, 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 clang. Hashtag Women's Revolution.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Clangy. You're right.
There's no way to respond to that, I guess.
No, Clangy Poles representing Canada and Trish Stratus, I guess.
Clangity, clang, clang, clang.
Yeah. Romine cut a bit of a promo on me. He said, you've gotten lazy and soft. No showing shots and mailing it in. But that's cool. Give me a no shit status of wrestling. NJPW promo or drama. The Evolution cluster. Whatever Crown Jewel is or will be. Just talk with voices. Hashtag just 2 tweets. Well, hopefully this week's episode satiated you for anything except for New Japan Pro Wrestling, because I just don't. Ain't nobody got time for that. But I know it's great. But I'm a WWE guy. That's what this pod is. A WWE pod. Can't
it's
say.
just what's
it's
most
just
available.
For the WWE.
WWE.
Yeah.
It's most available
Steve-O.
to us.
Yeah.
Steve-O.
Steve-O says, you can really tell Shawn Michaels is not into this return at all. You can see it in his eyes. I mean, you can already see one of them. What?
The promo pictures. You don't even need to finish it. The promo pictures of Shawn Michaels and Triple H in their
I kind of
DX
did
gear
need to finish it because
is the best.
He was trying to make a joke and you sat on it.
No. Okay, go ahead.
He says, you can see it in his eyes. I mean, you can already see one of them looking for the end of this run. Hashtag I kid. It's a cross-eyed joke. Poor Shawn with his detached retina.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another one from Paul Skivers. He says, Stone Cold Becky Lynch was awesome in opening a can of whoop-ass on the self-proclaimed Queen Charlotte. I hope those students learned the Stone Cold lesson, or Becky may have to teach them again.
Give me a hell yeah for Stone Cold Becky Lynch. Oh, hell yeah.
Are you supposed to give yourself the hell yeah, Steve?
I'm Stone Cold goddamn Steve Austin. I give myself whatever the hell I want, and I'll give you a reason to go shit blood for a month.
Wow. That's...
I really
I
like.
try.
I really
try.
like the way they did that whole thing. I mean, I know we talked about it and it was great, but I really liked the way they promoted Charlotte going to the Performance Center to talk to the wrestlers. They didn't even mention that Becky would be there or anything, and she just showed up. I really enjoyed that. That was something new and fun. Stu
Little at SL Fricky says, even though I think there's less on paper to get excited about due to crappy booking, I'm still planning on watching Evolution and skipping Crown Jewel altogether. Get well, Roman. That's a nice tweet.
Yeah.
How about this from Duran? He says, with all these damn shows, you burned out yet? Are you excited for TakeOver War Games next month? That seems to be the only WWE show I'm hyped for. That makes sense. I mean, it was a hell of a show last year. Should be good again. NXT shows are always fantastic, so
they're always good.
I'm excited for it.
I'm not sure I'm super excited for the leaked main event because most of the titles are in that match. But either way, it's going to be absolutely outrageous. TakeOver always is the best of the weekend.
Duran also had another question. He always asks a few, which are kind of nice and off topic. I'm going to skip the first part, but he said, better October pay-per-view, No Mercy or Halloween Havoc? I got to go with Halloween Havoc. I mean, it's a themed show, and it kind of became WCW's biggest pay-per-view in a way. I know Super Brawl and Starrcade were supposed to be big, but like Halloween Havoc was kind of the show. It was awesome. It had the theme. It had that big, weird-looking, bald, Mr. Clean-looking guy on the logo that everybody loved. So
yeah.
Halloween Havoc was close to my heart. And
absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, No Mercy just means nothing, and it's not always in October, so I got to go with Havoc, man.
Agree.
Plus, sadly and embarrassingly so, in the Attitude Era, I was a WCW guy for far too long. So,
hey, for a long time, they had a great product, though. So,
yeah, well,
a
they
year,
had a good product for like a year, and
yeah.
then it got really bad, but I still watched because I'm a dumbass. Just got one tweet from Mike Gordon. He says, is there a pod this week? I need some ADCs of wrestling in my life right now. Well, hopefully we can, help you out with that. With
the answer is
our
no.
show. Yeah, so no, there's no show. I'm going to burn this tape.
You got all the way to the end to find out that the show did not happen.
Yes. Well, it did happen. If you liked it, I would love it if you would leave us a review on iTunes. We're really slacking in the iTunes review department, guys. Tell your friends we need 5 stars and a positive comment on our iTunes or Apple podcast page. And, if you're listening on Spotify, share it amongst people. You can also get us on, iHeartRadio or on Google Play podcasts, Stitcher, everywhere. So wherever you're listening, leave a review. Tell your friends that you like the show. Spread the word about the ADC dub. You can tweet us at ADCs of Wrestling on Twitter. You can follow me at Andrew David Cox. You can follow Maddie at Matt DeMarcus. That's IEST. And I guess we will see you next week where we can talk a little bit about how Evolution went down and how the rest of Crown Jewel is shaping up and how we're not excited about it and how we're going to boycott it.
Yep.
That's it for us. We'll see you next week. Ball game.
Peace.
Oh, hell yeah. This is Stone Cold Steve Austin, the baddest SOB on this planet. What? I'll leave all you newfangled wrestlers on your ass, and that's the bottom line. If you want me to bring stunners back, then give me a hell yeah. I'm bringing stunners back. What? Been way too long since I whipped someone's ass. What? Open a can of beer and drink it fast. What? Austin 316 says I whipped your ass. What? That's the bottom line, kid. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, they're all the same. I put all of you some bitches to shame. I'm coming back, I'm gonna save the game. Brock Lesnar's a bitch, you heard me right. Give me a hell yeah. Drink beer all night. Give me a hell yeah. I'm ready for a fight. Give me a hell yeah. Stun anyone in sight. Give me a hell yeah. I'ma open a can. Give me a hell yeah. I'm a whoop-ass man. Give me a hell yeah. These guys are bitches. Give me a hell yeah. You need some stitches. Give me a hell yeah. What's with the scripts? Give me a hell yeah. about your own shit. Business picked up. When I showed up, middle fingers up. I didn't give a what. Who's a sexy Steve? Who's a sexy Steve? I'm bringing stoners back. What? I ain't afraid to whip McMahon's old ass. What? Tell Hitman Hardy's still a piece of crap. What? I'll whip Kurt Angle's ass in his tiny hat. What? That's all I got to say about that. Hey DX, Shawn Michaels, I thought you retired your ass. Goddamn kid, you look like Undertaker's dad. And you still make the current roster look like trash. This is more about them. Dean Ambrose sucks. How about these nuts? Daniel Bryan, your ass is always crying. Hey Braun Strowman, you'll never beat Roman. KO, what the fuck? Your stunner straight sucks. If I was Miz, I'd leave the biz. Hey Bobby Lashley, your moveset's trashy. Hey John Cena, it's never fun seeing ya. Who's a sexy Steve? Who's a sexy Steve? There ain't nobody safe on Monday, Tuesday night now. I'm bringing stunners back. Goddamn kid, I'm sexy as hell, and that's the bottom line, cause Stone Cold said so.